Alright, so we just got done with Maxwell Boltzmann's distribution a little bit. It was an Indian guy. I don't mind his work, but it was just not a very good diagram. So I clicked out, and here I am. We just got done with Maxwell Boltzmann's distribution here. But what do we have? The electromotive force explained. Plastic ring. Okay, so if you're talking about what would be their static charge, you got free charge, you got the dissipation of that charge, Maxwell Bozine's distribution, the distribution of that charge. You could say anything that distributes that 1 to 0 acts that way. Well, in this way, this does this trig, right? It's just saying inside the spectrum, how many volts, what's the system, but basically there's a switch in there. If it's within that bandwidth, it'll be fine. If it's over, it's high. If it's under, it's low. And there's the ground. Input in, output out, silica, doped, 2 different compositions, potassium, and potassium's in the P type, maybe silica or silica alone or some composition of it. Well, again, you just get into the purity of silica. If it should so happen to have potassium in the ground and in the separation process of separating silver and copper, you both use nitric acid, it's both in solution, you have to use a different element to be able to knock it out of solution, and that would be some heat, light, and sound effect. You're going to get some gaseous states, which are particles but not particles. You're going to get some, which were photon, light, heat, something. The index of heat to light before fire, IH, and again, sound pressure waves. Because here, heat's going to make a pressure wave just like light makes a pressure wave, but not a direct pressure wave. It only marginally affects certain positions, maybe the EM or why temperature in that line dissipating doesn't allow the current to go through as correctly, or you need some kind of other attachment, some other way to change the area under the curve slightly, with some geometry or scale, right? So if the scale of the quartz crystal or what have you isn't correct, you'll have a different output on some feeds or speeds of these things, or they may not be consistent, or they'll have a spike or something inside of the wave, where it dumps all the volt every time this thing comes over it. And maybe not this one directly, but there was another one where he kept on and off on the circuit, and therefore there was a voltage spike on this thing, and over time that clocks it for the mod. All right, so we'll get into those basic parts of the equation and why they are relative at all parts, because they give you value if you individually run them like that. And then you can Evel Knievel it a little bit better, at least.
It has a little figure. And let's draw it right here. We've got